Ladies and gentlemen, today we will be catching a predator. Now, I am not making any bold accusations to the guest on our show today. The main point of my show is to either call out a predator for specific behavior that they have been doing or defend somebody who has been accused of predatorial behavior. So today, our guest is Mr. Malik Yoba, the man, the myth, and the actor, Mr. Yoba. So, Mr. Yoba has come into the main consciousness of most individuals because he has come out and stated that he is a heterosexual man who is in love with trans women. But before we even dive deep into that information about Malik, we have to give the entire story for the entire context as to why he felt the need to speak about his personal feelings. So about a month ago, there was a video that came out of a black man who was bullied and shamed and harassed because he himself was attracted to trans women, and he was in a relationship with a trans woman, which ultimately led to this young man committing suicide. So Malik found the need, the courage, and the boldness to come out and state that this is wrong, that we should not be bullying, harassing somebody who is expressing themselves, that is attracted to somebody else, and they should be able to be free and happy to pursue whatever they want to. Nothing wrong with what Malik is saying. I think that is what most people can rally around and agree with. So a couple days later after that, now we get to the now infamous or famous quote by said Malik of how he is a heterosexual man who is attracted to trans women. And Malik thought that he was going to get the type of praise and the accolades and the pat on the back and support like other celebrities like Taylor Swift or Miley Cyrus or Lil Nas X when they came forth with their sexuality and was all about allowing people to be free and express who they were. But Malik was met with the complete opposite. Malik was met with some support from the LGBTQ plus community, but met with much condemnation from the black community by saying, bruh, what are you doing? You know better than this. You shouldn't have to go out there and speak on said topics. He was met with bullying and harassment like the young man who committed suicide, which ultimately led Malik to push back against said criticism and state that he should not be bullied and harassed because he is a man who knows what he wants. He likes trans women. And the fact that he's liking that women, he should be heralded as the spokesperson for black trans, and black people need to get it together, and black men need to do better, yada, 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 yada. So that wasn't enough for Malik to just speak his piece and then actually work on helping trans people. You see, that's the difference with what Malik has done. See, Malik didn't just speak his piece and work and be an activist in that community. Malik wanted it to be all about Malik, and he wanted other people to join in and support Malik, and he did not get that. So, to once again defend his point, Malik went on The Breakfast Club another week or so later, and he pretty much doubled down on the fact that he loves trans women, and he's a man that likes women with breasts and penises, pretty much. And, he then called out other celebrities that were also attracted to trans women, like Eddie Murphy and Teddy Pendergrass, and saying that they didn't man up and they didn't show enough courage. And when they were caught in a situation, they cowered behind the shame and harassment and bullying and didn't fully accept and embrace the fact that they are attracted to trans women. So Malik seems to be a man who is in a very interesting place. You see, when I did a little more digging and research to Malik, I found out that Malik has always been attracted to trans women, but not women, trans girls, which is a little more testy. So Malik was outed by Maria Lopez Anthony, a trans woman who lives in New York, who pretty much said that she was solicited for sex when she was a minor by Malik, and she was paid, and that is why Malik is trying to like be open about his sexuality nowadays. And she was saying that he is also doing it because he's trying to be on Pose. Now, if you are not familiar with Pose is a show that airs on FX, which is pretty much a show about drag culture and drag queens and transgender women, transgender black women in the 80s ball culture. It's a very interesting show. If you're interested in it, teach his own. I actually watched it. I'll be reviewing it another time. But he was pretty much trying to get on that show for the third season because, you know, he wants to be around trans women. And those women, I'm just being honest here, ladies and gentlemen, objectively speaking, they really do a good job passing for women. If you really stare too hard, okay, back to the point. So Malik was pretty much speaking as a person because he wants to be embraced. You know how like when Taylor Swift made that song about you need to calm down, and then she got an award because she's a straight white woman making music for gay people, and there's nobody in the gay community being like, yeah, that's kind of cool, but you know, you're straight. Or like when Miley Cyrus decides to cultural appropriate, and then like the gays are like, hey, whatever. And then Lil Nas X pretty much came out of the closet, and when his song was dying, it skyrocketed back to #1 for a few more weeks. That's what Malik thought he was going to get. Unfortunately, I'm calling it out as a desperate attempt to have some type of relevance, because the ultimate showdown, and this is the main reason why you clicked on this video, was when he went toe-to-toe with Judge Joe Brown. Now, when I listened to the audio, I got the judges confused. I was thinking it was Judge Joe Mathis, so I was expecting a little more like urban, you know, niggery when I was hearing from Joe Mathis. I was expecting a little more bass. I was expecting a little more like hood. But instead, I got Joe Brown. And Joe Brown, when I was listening to it, he sounded more like the sheriff that pulls you over because you were speeding. And he had that voice, and you're like, boy, you better not talk to me this kind of way. I didn't know that's how Joe Brown sounded. And if you want to know a little bit more about Joe Brown was the man who got arrested a couple years back because he was soliciting prostitutes. Anyway, they went down toe-to-toe, and Malik was on his final whim, pretty much saying that he likes trans women, women with breasts and penises. He doubled down on that point, and he was beating around the bush and speaking in philosophical terms and really pretty much just speaking and explaining that in a way that if you don't listen to what he's saying all this to pretty much say what Joe Brown, you know, reduced to a sentence. Oh, you're a man that likes other men or likes trannies, so why don't you just say that? Which Malik responded like, no, you don't understand. You're doubling down and saying the same talking points that, you know, bigots and homophobes are saying. And Joe Brown was like, no, boy, I ain't saying that. I'm Joe Brown, and I say what I had to say, and you're attracted to trans women. And he was like, no. And so this is a long podcast. So I'm paraphrasing it, and I'm like condensing it to like a watchable video. So that was the toe-to-toe, and then Malik got upset and he hung up. And then like the podcast lady was like, well, what do we do now? And so where does that leave us with the final point? I am thinking that Malik is only doing this because he's trying to get on Pose. But ladies and gentlemen, he ain't getting on Pose. I've already watched both seasons. He ain't getting on that show. The show's about to be canceled after the 3rd season because they're going on to bigger and better things. So he ain't getting on that show, and he's pretty much outed himself in the black community. So people are always going to be skeptical whenever Malik is in certain circles and he's around certain people, because he hasn't come to the conclusion and he hasn't had enough self-love to express himself in a way that makes sense without him trying so hard to get people to support him. If he is a man that is attracted to trans women, you own up to the fact and you just say that you're attracted to them. But stop trying to get other people to join you for your own personal choices in life. That's where Malik is wrong with that. And that's why a lot of people are pushing back on Malik. Even his wife was like, we would have accepted you, but why didn't you just come tell us first before you went to the TV screen, before you had the interviews, before you went out and told everybody else, but you didn't tell your baby mama and you didn't tell your kids about this. So Malik, if you watch this video or someone close to you, it's not about you. It's about, it is about you, but you need to come to a better conclusion and a better peace in your life and go live your life and be an activist and stop trying to get everybody else to accept you. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you watched this entire video, thank you. And I will be back in the future to catch another predator. So you leave in the comment section who you want me to investigate, and I will be back with a new episode. My name is IDK Revy on my channel. I watch movies, television shows, so you don't have to. So that's usually what I typically do, and every now and then I dabble in a little bit of drama. So thank you for supporting me and my channel.